So you want to be cool. You want to be an entrepreneur. You want to get validated by all your friends and family, and you want to finally feel like you're doing something in life. And that's great. You should continue to do that. But I was stuck in this trap as well, and it ain't all that, man. It's you want to express yourself, you want to do big things, but you don't want to get trapped in that cycle or in that way of thinking where you have to be an entrepreneurial or you're not valuable or you're not worthy. So I have a couple ideas that may help you get out of that mindset where you have to be an entrepreneur or nothing. You can do big things. You can go out there and make and create and produce things. But what you don't want to do is place your whole value and sense of self-worth on this one endeavor, because if it does not work out, you're going to lose your sense of self. So you want to do things from a core baseline sense of yourself, and then you can do things that are quote unquote entrepreneurial. But try to be an entrepreneur just to be an entrepreneur. But here are some downsides to it, right? Number one is it takes a lot more work than you would think. It's very, very time intensive. You know, you're constantly thinking about your business. You're constantly thinking about how you can grow, what things you can do better. And it's not just doing the task, it's freaking taxes, payouts, make sure your bills are paid on time, and accounting, and that takes a lot more work than it's worth, to be honest. Sometimes I wish I'd rather just have a freaking regular 9 to 5 job where I just go work, go home, get paid, and sleep soundly at night. But again, when I do those kinds of things, I don't feel like I'm growing. So I understand you. I understand where you're at. But again, just don't place so much sense of self on being an entrepreneur. Do things, and you can do things, make things, but just don't classify yourself as an entrepreneurial or nothing. You know what I mean? And number two is eventually the passion and motivation and fun that you had when you first started out, it will eventually fade. It will quickly turn to work. It's going to be work, instead of working 9 to 5, you're working 5 a.m. to 9 p.m., so you switched it around. And it will be fun and exciting at first. And yes, it's great that you're growing and expanding and trying new things and you finally have something for yourself. But when it starts to become a burden, it really weighs on you, and it would turn to complacency and contempt. And that's the worst part and worst place you want to be as an entrepreneur, as someone who's out there trying to, do big things. You start resenting your clients. You start feeling like the workload is too much, and you're losing your sense of self because you're always trying to chase doing bigger and better things. But again, you lose your sense of value, your sense of who you really are, because you're always just trying to provide value for your clients all the time, and or answer to your investors, and eventually you get crushed by the weight of your own ambitions, and nobody will. Number three is that nobody will understand. Most people don't have an entrepreneurial mindset. They do want to just stick to a regular 9 to 5 and just be happy and content like that. I know we are built different, us entrepreneurs, us creators and producers in this world. We're built different, so we can't be happy just going to work and come home and then hating on our jobs, right? So we can't relate to the people that are doing that, and it's very difficult, especially when it's your family members and your close friends, because you feel like you're no longer there with them, you're no longer relating to them. And the thing is, you're not. You just have to accept that. Yeah, you're not. You're no longer relating to them. You're a totally separate being now. You think differently, and they can't grasp that because they're not growing as you are. They're content staying the same, and it's very difficult to grasp. It's very difficult to feel like you have some kind of community or people around you that understands you. And I went through that for the longest time. My family, they love me, and I love my family. I know they love me, they'll take care of me, but they don't see things eye to eye with me, right? And whenever I tell them my big dreams or any aspirations that I want to do and things that are quote unquote risky, well, you know what they say. What happens if you fail? You know? Oh man, I hated hearing that, because what happens if I succeed? But the funny thing is, I did fail my first business. So they're right. I mean, they're right. Any negative things they say to you can possibly come true. I know it's hard to hear. We don't want to hear that. We only want to hear about the wins and the successes. But yes, you can fail, which I did many times. I wanted to run a website, I failed. I started in Airbnbs and I failed. I wanted to do podcasting and I failed, right? And you just got to own up to that failure and understand that it can happen. And when it does happen, it sucks, because they're going to walk around smug and think, I told you so, you know? And then you'll be like, well, it's because you never support me, and so on and so forth. But get really good at being alone if you want to go down the entrepreneurial path. And number 4 is, I've been kind of talking about this, but have a sense of purpose deeper than being an entrepreneur, deeper than creating something just for the sake of it. It's just because you want fame and money and riches and all that. You want to be so rooted in yourself that no matter if you lose your business or you lose your friends or you lose just the external things around you, that you still have your own self, you still have your own guidance with you. You know what I mean? Your North Star, your core. Why did you want to be an entrepreneur in the first place? Is to make the world a better place. Well, you can always make the world a better place, you know, via a different avenue rather than just that one business that you wanted to start or whatnot. And really the last thing is, yes, the money is great when you're an entrepreneur, if you do it right and you scale your business and you grow. But living life is just better and more important than just the money. You know, it's when you get so focused on the money and scaling and growing your business, you get to actually live life and enjoy time with your family. And that happened to me for, you know, a year or two, because I was just too focused on trying to grow my Airbnb business, and I kind of resented my family for that where they didn't want to help me. To be honest, they never saw any one of my units, and I set up all the units by myself, 16 hours a day. You know, I literally bled for it, cut my hands so many times. My family never saw a unit. They never asked to go look, and they didn't really care. And for the longest time, yes, it really bothered me, and I actually saw setting up my units as a way to get away from them. But what I realize now, after you know, getting away from that business, I realized that my family is very important. They are there for me. They love me and they want the best for me. And I realized to just stay away from the entrepreneurial topics. If there's something that I want to do, my big dreams and goals and aspirations, I'll go and do that. But at the same time, I'm not going to resent my family for it. I'm not going to resent them for not wanting to join this path with me, because it's my own path. So now what I've learned is to live the life and just enjoy the people who love me or whatever they can provide whatever I can do for them. At the same time, I'm not going to, you know, expect them to pursue the dreams with me or understand. There's going to be people that understand and people that won't. And it's your job to go and find a group of people that will understand where you're coming from. Long story short, yes, being an entrepreneur is great. And by all means, go out there, do big things and enjoy the heck out of it. You know, meet new people, get new experiences. But don't lose yourself, or don't box yourself into being an entrepreneur or this one business. Be fluid, be a chameleon, you know, be like liquid, be like water, my friend. So yeah, do that and just really live life. That's what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to just enjoy ourselves and do big things in this world. Peace.